Welcome to Intimate Conversations with Francis O'Brien, healing one heart at a time. Before you put me on blast, I know it's been a long time since I've released a video, and I do apologize for that. I've just been going through a lot. It's been a very difficult, kind of tumultuous period in my life, so please bear with me on that. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're okay. I hope you're good. Some of us are working from home, some of us are going to work, whatever the case is. I hope you're keeping safe, be it at work, be it at home. I hope that you are spending quality time, as I always say, with your loved ones. Now, please excuse the noises in the background. I cannot wait for the area that I live in to be completely silent before I actually get to record my video. So there is people ordering takeaways or takeouts. So there's scooters, motorcycles and stuff delivering. So if you do hear any noise in the background, please do forgive me. And my neighbor downstairs is also blasting music. Yeah, so we just have to keep it moving. Today, we are talking about a very interesting topic, as usual. And as usual, it's also based on personal experience. And I hope that with the content of the story or the topic that I have today is going to help a lot of people make very informed decisions, that they will pray about it and not just jump into it, because everybody's situation is case specific. This content or this topic that I'm talking about today, as usual, is something that I can personally relate to. So I hope that you will learn from my experiences and you will make a more informed decision for yourself, for your family, for your kids, for your relationship, whatever the case is. So without further ado, let's get into it. Today's topic, as you see from the title on this video, is the effects of being in a relationship with a gambler. Now, there's so many negatives about being with a chronic gambler. Okay, with my, in my previous relationship, there were a lot of, I would put them as lows. There were a lot of lows or negatives. And this person wasn't always like this in this relationship. They obviously started off better, but because of the frustrations of life, a person tends to look for different alternatives to either cope with their stress, to either deal with that frustration, and they don't always make the best of decisions. And most times when you're in a relationship with somebody, they never really consult their partner whenever they make such decisions. It's something that they just kind of creep behind you and do, and you get to find out about it after a period of time. So I'm not talking about a gambler that is like a businessman who is savvy in business. I'm talking about a chronic gambler, somebody that has a problem with gambling. So be it horses, be it the casino, be it sports bet as they call it, whatever it is. It's if the gambling is getting out of control, that person is becoming a chronic gambler, and being in a relationship with this person is very difficult. If it's a business person, obviously they make calculated risks. Chronic gamblers tend to feel they're making tend to believe rather that they're making calculated risks, and they really aren't. It's mostly risks made on impulse that have got very devastating consequences or effects. Today we're talking about a person who just relies on sheer dumb luck. Literally sheer dumb luck. This not only affects that individual, but everybody involved around that individual's life. So having experienced this, let's talk about the effects or the effects of being in a relationship with somebody who is a chronic gambler, and how this can, in fact, affect you. So let's get to point number one. They convince you that it's a good thing. First of all, gambling, because people gamble for different reasons. People gamble to get themselves out of a financial rut most of the time. So they pawn stuff and then they get money, then they go and they gamble. All right. So people gamble because it's quick and it's easy. And most times it's kind of simple. It really doesn't require a lot of mathematics to be a chronic gambler. The Bible says in 1 Timothy 6 verse 10 that the love of money is the root of all evil. It doesn't say money is evil. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. And I think that's such a befitting verse for this particular topic, because you are loving money and you're trying to get out of a rut, and you don't care what happens, you don't care about the consequences, you just want to make sure that you can get a quick solution to your problem. And I will always, go into Bible verses, or at least I'll try to always go into Bible verses as reference to some of the content that I put on my channel. The second Bible verse comes from Proverbs 15 verse 27, and it says, "The greedy bring ruin to their households, but the one who hates bribes will live." Now, gambling is a sickness, it's a disease, it's an addiction, and I'm sure you've heard this time and time again. Now, I'm not going to talk about the gambling, the alcoholism part. That's not gambling, forgive me. I'm not talking about addictions like alcoholism, drug abuse and stuff. I'm talking about the addiction of gambling today. That's what I'm touching on. And it's an addictive rush that the person doesn't realize is overtaking them, is taking over the entire world. People don't understand that, you become either insane because of your addiction, or you lose everything and everyone that you ever cared about or loved in your life because of your addiction. And most times these people get so deep into these addictions that they actually are convinced that they are okay losing everything and everyone. In actual fact, they don't even see the losses in everything and that they're doing to gain whatever it is that they're looking for. George Washington says, and I quote, "Gambling is a child of avarice." Now, avarice is extreme greed for wealth or material gain. So it's also the brother of iniquity and the father of mischief. So I'll read it again. Gambling is a child of avarice, the brother of iniquity, and the father of mischief. Nothing good comes out of gambling. And like I said, I'm talking about the bad kind, the evil kind. I'm not talking about a businessman taking calculated risks. Now, before I continue, I think I've got another 2 verses that I also picked up from the Bible. So let me just quickly get my other gadget, and I will tell you what it's about. This one also comes from Proverbs 28 verse 22, and I'm reading from the NIV version, and it says, "The stingy are eager to get rich and are unaware that poverty awaits them." I cannot tell you, ne? This could not be so true. The stingy are eager to get rich. And most people, the more they get a wealth, if they do acquire wealth, the more difficult it is to release it. It's because that money has become such an idol to them. They don't see, and they tell themselves, this person doesn't understand why how hard I had to work to get this money, etc., etc. So they think they can just come and get the money from me that easily. And then the second verse comes from Luke chapter 16, verse 13. And it reads, "No one can serve 2 masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money." Nothing could be further, could be more specific than that verse. You cannot serve God and money at the same time. You can't. You have to choose. And the honest truth is, there's a verse in the Bible that says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." When you seek God first, he brings all these things. But when you put God aside and you choose this, you are choosing money, you are choosing material wealth and possession, and these things are the things that are going to bring problems into your house. As Proverbs 15 verse 27 says, "The greedy man brings ruin to their households, but the one who hates bribes will live." Now, to further expatiate on this topic, gambling is as a result of covetousness, which is envy. You're envious of your friends' lifestyles. You're envious of your girlfriend's designer handbags. You're envious of your guy friends' cars. You're envious of the holidays that your friends take or your family members take. And, you tell yourself, you know what, I'm not making enough money. I need to find a way to make quick fixes, or to make, to find a quick solution to my problem. Exodus chapter 20 verse 7 says, it talks about not envying your neighbor's house, which is being covetous. Do not envy what somebody is doing. And I've said this, I think, before in many other videos, or in previous videos, and I've said, You don't know what people do at night. You're not aware of what people do to make sure that they sustain an income, or to get an income, or to live the lavish lifestyle that they're living. You don't know. Luke 12 verse 25 says, "Then he said to them, watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions." I repeat, life does not consist in an abundance of possessions. I know very wealthy people who feel very empty with their possessions. They feel with their possessions, sorry, not positions. They feel very empty. I mean, what's the point of having a beautiful big house, and because of the vanity that you have kind of adopted in your life, people close to you have left you, and now you've got this mansion and you've got nobody to celebrate with. I mean, it's difficult for you to come down from that high horse that you've put yourself on to come back and mingle with the commoners, to say, you know what, guys, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It really takes the hand of God to come and touch that person, to change them from their ways. So, as I said in point number 1, they convince you that gambling is a good thing. So you are there saying, no, babe, it's not that bad. This is your man. It's not that bad, babe. We can do this. I promise you, we're going to get we're going to score big time from this. They tell you that they aren't addicted, and this is just fun. It's a hobby. I mean, babe, what harm is there in me just gambling? You know what I mean? There's no harm. It's just a little gamble and stuff like that. In time, the hobby, or that hobby, which is gambling, becomes a full-time job. It overtakes that person's life. It overtakes the lives of the people around that person who's gambling. I remember watching the transitional stages of my in my previous relationship, and it would really break my heart to watch this person dwindling out of control, and there was nothing I could do to kind of help the situation. Watching a person morph into an addict and you being helpless is a very crippling ordeal. It's a crippling ordeal when you find the person that you love or you care about deeply just changing. And this, I guess, goes across all kinds of addiction. But like I said, today the focus is on gambling. Let's go on to point number 2. They find a way to rope you in. And it always starts off like a joke in a game. And I remember it used to start off like this. And this person was addicted to playing sports bets, that was particularly in soccer. As you guys are sitting and watching television, the person will be like, hey, babe, you know what? I want to watch soccer. Do you know what I mean? And then you realize, then you think, okay, obviously men like soccer, so obviously he's going to want to what? He's going to want to watch sports. So you don't have a problem. You think, okay, cool. And I've had to change my mindset and around soccer, because I grew a hatred towards soccer, or football as Americans would call it, but I won't call it football, I'll call it soccer. I grew a hatred towards that sport because of what it did to the relationship that we were in. So, in time I thought, wow, this person is really, and he would talk about his upbringing and how his dad also used to be a soccer coach. I tell myself, okay, look, it looks like it's in the family, so there's nothing really wrong with that. Men are always attached to one kind of sport. So either you're told, even if it's the lottery, I forgot to mention the lottery gambling types. Oh gosh, I'm losing my words. I even forgot to mention the lottery as a type of gambling. Blech. So either you're told to pick a horse, to say, babe, pick that horse. I know you've got, you've got luck all over you, or you're my lady luck, or you are told to pick numbers for that week's lottery game and stuff like that, or you're told to pick a soccer team. It doesn't stop. And it's also a very sneaky way, because should your choice come close to winning, they convince you that you have the Midas touch. Wow, I didn't even think you were really good at this. I thought, no wonder I asked you. I mean, you came so close, like your choices. You've got a knack for this, you're really good at this. So I'm going to be coming to you, every time I want to play maybe the game or the lottery, or I want to put a bet in something like that. And you laugh and you're like, shame. My partner thinks so highly of me. They, oh, looking back, whatever. It's just a horrible thing. And when you refuse to engage, you are made to feel guilty. So if you refuse to pick anything, you're like, yeah, no, you see, you never care about anything that I concern myself with, or you don't care about things that make me happy. You just want me to focus on you and blah, 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 blah. So they make you feel guilty for not wanting to take a chance or not wanting a better life. So they will tell you, you know what, if we win this money, do you know how much this would change our life? Do you know how much it would change our lives? Do you know where that we could move? And then they put you in this world, this bubble, where you're all of a sudden thinking all these fantastical things that could happen to you, and the mansion that could just drop on your lap like this should you win the lottery and stuff like that. And it's really a pathetic thing. And I'll go into another Bible verse from Proverbs 28, which I did touch. Verse 22 says, greedy people try to get rich quick, but don't realize that they're headed for poverty. That is being covetous, and that is being greedy, because you're not really working hard. A gambler will tell you, what, this trick is crazy. It's hard work to sit there and, you know, be thinking and strategizing and calculating and stuff like that. And I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Let's move on to, and that was point number 2, that they find a way to rope you in. Point number 1 was they convince you it's a good thing. Point number 2 is they find a way to rope you in. Point number 3, this gambling addiction, another effect of it is that it opens the door to lies and secrets. An example is when the gambler is meant to do something important or another thing, they opt to ignore doing the important thing and choose to go off and gamble, then lie about why they didn't go there. So say, for instance, babe, you know what, the tap in the sink is broken and we need a new faucet, or we need a new tap. Then, you know, your partner's like, oh, okay, cool. You're telling yourself maybe it broke and you need a new one, you need to replace it. It's not something that he can fix. So your partner goes, you have this discussion, perhaps you're lying in bed, and it's a peaceful discussion, eh? Your partner agrees and says, you know what, let me go to the hardware store tomorrow. They wake up, they go to the hardware store, and also you think. Then when they come back in the evening, you're like, but babe, where's the tap that you were supposed to buy for the sink? Oh, you know what, I had a busy day, and excuse is created. That's why I said in the beginning, when the gambler is meant to do something important, they choose to not do the important thing and focus on that, because in the gambler's mind they're thinking, you know what, I don't even have to deal with the broken tap right now, because if I have money I would have a better quality type of faucet, so let me concentrate on trying to get more money, then I would get a faucet, and my woman wouldn't worry about, you know, these temporal kind of projects and stuff like that, temporary goods or products that are, or substandard things that are in the house. So they create excuses for not doing what was important. Like a chore. The secrets come in when the gambler does not want their extent of gambling. The secrets come in when the gambler does not want the extent of gambling to be known. So that's when the lies come in, because obviously if you were to tell your partner that, no, I didn't go and buy the faucet or the tap, I actually went to go and gamble. First of all, you're going to look at your partner and think, you did what? You said what? So you chose to actually leave a running broken tap, just so that you could gamble. So obviously gamblers know the difference between right and wrong. That's at the beginning stages, right? That's at the beginning stage. But in their mind, as you're complaining, you think, oh, this woman doesn't understand, or this man doesn't understand. I'm trying to get a better life. I'm trying to get a better tap. I'm trying to get a better whatever it is that they were supposed to do. They can forget to pick up kids from school. They can forget to, you know, do something important. They can forget a date that you've probably set up together for, you know, your relationship. So they hide. Another thing with the secret and lies is that they hide the evidence and become more secretive about their finances. And I think this is obvious. This is all part of the secrets and the lies. So they will not be honest about their finances, and they'll be secretive. So you guys have probably got an account that you've got separate accounts, but you've always been transparent. And then maybe you as the woman think, you know what, babe, I'm going through a difficult time, or do you know what, I'm going out with the ladies today. Do you mind if I have like $500 just to buy some ingredients, or some goods and stuff like that? Or we have a party at church and I need to make a contribution, and then partner's like, you know, the money, you know, there was an excuse and stuff like that. Then you think, but you know what, I know that you have money, or you had money, so if you can't give it to me, then why? What's the issue? No, you know, something came up, I borrowed money to one of my boys and stuff like that. An excuse comes out. So they hide the evidence, and they're very secretive about their finances. This is not only dishonest, but it's highly deceptive. They will lie about having money when they no longer have the money. Right, so they will lie about money, they will lie about their whereabouts, and they will lie about not doing the reason for not doing important things or duties. This is where point number 3 says, this addiction, this gambling problem opens the door to lies and secrets. And it's a very painful thing. I remember, I will give you an example. I remember when our iron, this happened before. First, I think it started with the kettle. The kettle wasn't working. And at the time, my partner wasn't working as well. So I happened to give my partner money, and I said, you know what, babe, when you get time, please can you get us a kettle, because we need a kettle in the house. It's not working. So I gave him some money. When I came back from work, indeed the kettle was purchased. He purchased the kettle from a pawn shop. And I don't understand why he did that. I didn't understand why he did that then. And I was so furious. And then he thought, but I'm trying to save money. So my question to him was, if you're trying to save money, then where's the balance? No, Ish, you remember that guy that I borrowed money from? I had to pay that guy back and stuff like that. And we got this really dingy second-hand kettle. I promise you, it didn't even last a week. It literally melted. That kettle could have caused a fire in our apartment. That was strike 1. Strike 2. The iron packed up in the morning as I'm ironing clothes to get ready for work. I'm like, snap. Give him money again. This is your partner, so you're not thinking this person would have your worst interests at heart, right? You've talked about that in your mind. You've discussed with an adult, a mature conversation. Then you think, you know what? Let me let this slide. Let me help. Let me give money again. Bearing in mind, I told you this person was not working. I gave money again. I said, buy an iron. I come home. Where's the iron, babe? Where's the iron? The money that I was giving this person was more than enough to buy brand new irons and kettles. A brand new iron and kettle. He shows me the kettle, the iron. It comes in an old box, and it's a Russell Hobbs box. And this is not shade to Russell Hobbs, just so you know. So he got this again from a pawn shop. I said, but why is the box so old? He's like, yeah, no, I actually got it from this pawn shop. Then he convinced me that pawn shops also have very good things. And I was angry. I'll tell you why I was angry. I was angry because 1, is the second time he did this. 2, I worked so hard for me to be buying things from a pawn shop. And this is no shade from people, towards people buying a pawn shop, but there is such joy as a person who's working when you buy brand new things that are in your house. You worked hard for it, so why should you be getting second-hand goods? There were many reasons why I was angry. Right, so let's move on to point number 4 of the effects of being in a relationship with a gambler. Point number 4 is, with lies comes the manipulation stroke blackmail. Now you see this one there. I think in the previous one where I said they convince you to, to partake, that's why, and I said that's the reason why I hated gambling. And I mean soccer specifically. And the transitional period, ever since I ended the relationship with this person, there's a lot that I've had to heal from, because, you have to tell yourself that the next person you're going to be in a relationship with may genuinely like that sport, but they're not liking it for the reasons you have been exposed to. They just genuinely like it. They wouldn't sabotage their relationship. They wouldn't not do their responsibilities or their duties as a partner in the relationship. So I had to change that mindset. And I can't tell you, family, it took me a long time. This is why when you break up in a relationship, from a relationship, you need to take time to detox, because there's many things that you learn and you absorb from your partner, that soul tie and all the other things that come with it, that you have to unlearn and undo. So when I would meet up with male friends and I see them watching soccer, I tell you, Usain Bolt has nothing on me. The way I would be a shot out that door, I would be a bolt. And I don't want to see a guy watching soccer, that guy is to irritate me. Like, I just had an issue. And I had to ask God and pray about it to say, not every man is like this. This is just one person who was this kind of person. So anyway, it's not to bash this person, but it's just to, to enlighten a lot of people of the things that may happen. And as I said, this person wasn't like this in the beginning, at the inception of the relationship. It really wasn't, or he really wasn't. when a person is jobless and a person becomes frustrated, they resort to many things, and I'm not going to get into that because that's not what the issue or the topic is about today. We're talking about the effects of being in a relationship with a gambler. And our fourth point is that with lies comes the manipulation and the blackmail. They will make you feel like you don't care about that demonic interest, that demonic hobby, that demonic source of entertainment to them. I was once referred to as an enemy of progress. That was the first time I heard that phrase, and I really broke down that day, and I cried because I mulled over that point, that expression, and on my own I thought, wow, am I really that bad of a person? Because I said, I don't want to be involved with this. You would call me an enemy of progress. Now, why was I called an enemy of progress? Because a person asked me to partake in picking numbers and picking a team and stuff like that. And when I refused, they said, yeah, you never support anything that I like. So now it forces you to expose yourself to what it is they deem exciting and will be worthwhile should we both take, an interest in doing. Once the gambler sees you're disinterested in their addiction, in their habit, or in their source of pleasure, and they've depleted their funds, they will ask you for money. Bearing in mind, you may or may not even know at that time that this person's funds have been depleted. Remember, lies and secrets in the previous point will come in. You won't really know. And even if you do, you won't give them, because now you are feeding into that habit. It's like that program of overweight people where the enabler is normally a person closest to the person that's morbidly obese. You won't give your partner the money because you know exactly where your money is going. It's literally being flushed down the toilet, right? So they will tell you an important reason that they need the money. So, you know what? We need a new tire for the car because that tire is like, it's going to cause an accident. And babe, when you drive, I don't want anything to happen to you. Oh, okay, how much are tires? Now, as a woman, obviously, you're leaving this to the man because you believe that men should be taking care of those kinds of things. Anything to do with the house, any fixer-upper in the house, the car, any mechanical type of issue, you leave it to the man, and you are relying on him to go and find out either from the local store, auto store, or I don't know if I'm saying it right, auto spare parts store, or any other reason why you would, trust him to go out and do those kinds of things for you. So you wouldn't go behind his back and go and find out the price of the tire, or go and find out the price for an oil kit, or I hope I'm making sense. So he will come back and tell you that, no, this thing costs X amount, and like, oh, okay, cool, and then you give. Why don't you have money, babe? An excuse comes up. Oh yeah, but the last month I did this on the car, and maybe you guys have only one car and you're kind of sharing this responsibility of the upkeep on the maintenance of that vehicle. You won't hesitate. You'll pump out the money. That's where the manipulation comes in. Stories are created to almost extort money from you. And in my previous relationship, I can't tell you how much this person extorted money from me for the purpose of a car. I remember one day I was driving I was driving out of work. So as I was on the driveway waiting to join the main road, and I was waiting for traffic I was waiting for a spot in the traffic to kind of make my turn. I opened the window. It was an electric window in the front by the driver's side. I opened the window, the whole window, boom, dropped. Sometimes when you really feel like, yeah, the devil is just having a field day on your head, that was a day. And I was with my colleague in the car that day. Boom, the window dropped. And I felt it really crash inside the car door, if that makes sense. Not really crash into pieces, but I heard it when it made a thud, at the base of the car door. Do you know that I had to drive very slowly because I was going to join a highway, and I had to drive very slowly because obviously I didn't want too much wind coming into the car, and that day it was raining and it was cold. Thank God it wasn't pouring, it was drizzling, but that wasn't funny either, and I had to kind of drive with... Anyway, needless to say, I got home and I explained the situation. Anyway, my partner at the time said, you know what, let me drop you off at work the following day. I will take the car and take you to the mechanic. And that's exactly what happened. Later on in the day, he comes, he picks me up. I see the window wound up. yeah, thank you so much for fixing the car. Anyway, following days, my turn to take the car now and go to work, because I'm assuming everything's fixed normal. In the morning, as I'm sitting in the car, this dude now tells me, which is my ex, he now tells me, you mustn't open that window. And I'm like, which window? He said, no, the one that crashed. I'm like, why? He said, no, because it's not fully functional. And if you open that window, I'm not going to be responsible for what happens. I'm like, but didn't the mechanic fix it? Yeah, he did, but he said we mustn't open it for now. Because I'm like, but okay, what was he quoting us for? Because I thought he was quoting us to get the parts to fix the window mechanism. Yeah. I had no words. Do you know, né? Like I had no words. I apologize for that. It's just my timer going off. So let me see if I can turn that off. Family, I can't tell you I had no words. I had no words for this person. I was stunned. And bear in mind, this is the morning. So they're also very crafty and very cunning. So they will know when to say what to you. Had he said that to me yesterday, it would have, I tell you, it would have been a full-blown argument, full-blown explosion in that house, because I had it up to, with all of the manipulation, I'd had it, and by this time I had already seen all the evidence, and I had seen the receipts, I had seen all the evidence of the gambling, and I was livid. So that's an effect. That's effect number 4, where I said lies come with manipulation. And there's a lot of stories I could give you with lies and manipulation, lies and secrets and stuff like that. A lot I could tell you. So anyway, let's move on to point number 5. Point number 5 is another crucial one, which is an effect of being in a relationship with a gambler. Theft comes in. And I remember talking about this in my life story. Money would go missing from my purse. You know, I'm glad that I can laugh now. To God be the glory for healing and for deliverance and for closing certain chapters in my life. Theft comes in, and it's bound to happen, because why? The funds have been depleted. He is probably, exhausted all his tactics and options, or she, if it's she in this case, of trying to extort money from you. So what are they going to do? They're going to resort to stealing, as with any addiction. So be it alcohol, drugs, or whatever. Stuff will go missing in the house. Because why? They need to sell money quick, so that they can do what? Go and feed the addiction. So in this case, theft happens. So stuff goes missing, or property goes missing, because a gambler has to sell, as I said, and feed the habit. If not property, then money is stolen, or you find that it goes missing. It's only natural to ask your partner, because it's only you probably and your partner staying in the house. Even if a family member is there, you stayed with your family, you know your family very well, they wouldn't take money from you. They would ask. So the next person you'd ask is your partner, because you think, okay, maybe there's something that happened, and there wasn't an opportune time to ask you for money. So maybe they took it and they forgot to tell you. You always give your partner the benefit of the doubt, right? So when you ask your partner, it's natural to ask, but you will be met with resistance, with denial, confusion, which will not only upset you but leave you very comfortable, because now you feel, okay, none of my stuff is safe in this house because it's only me and you, so who else could have taken the stuff? Then you get told, oh, so what are you saying? Are you saying that I'm a thief? Are you saying I'm this? And then you're thinking, I didn't call your names. You're calling yourself names. I'm just asking where the thing that used to be there is. And now you are giving me all this flack. I don't understand. I just asked a simple question, where is it? Do you know what I mean? And I know people will say it's not about the question, it's about how you ask. When you have reached your tether, I can't tell you. Sometimes, you don't even have the patience to be asking somebody nicely, because now you know what has been going on under your nose. You've just been acting, oblivious, and you've been keeping quiet. And you think, you know what, I'm going to let this slide until you cannot let this slide any longer. So, feelings of distrust and resentment are developed, as well as betrayal, because this person has taken from you. This person has not bothered to ask you. This person has just taken whatever they feel fit to take from you. And it's really ripping trust away from me. You are betraying what we are, our relationship. You are betraying what we have tried to work so hard to achieve together. The person you love is stealing from you, and is stealing your hard-earned possessions. And that hurts. and it goes both ways, whoever the gambler is, that will lead to the breaking down of that relationship because you will fight or argue. It is inevitable. It is inevitable. You are going to fight about the things that are being stolen because you can't be working so hard and buy these things over and over again. The kettle goes missing, the TV goes missing, you have to buy another TV. You forgive the person, you think, you know what, don't do it again, like I don't appreciate that. You buy the TV again, you buy a phone again, whatever it is that goes missing. And I think in my life story, I gave an example and I said there was a time, because I used to work really hard. I used to do the radio show in the morning, and then I had my day job. When I came back home, I was exhausted because I put in over 12 hours of work from Monday to Friday. And then I started working on Saturdays as well at the radio station. I remember on a Saturday morning, my partner used to have a routine where he'd be like, no, you sleep in late, and then I'll wake up in the morning and I'll get cereal ready for our son at the time. So I woke up this one day because there's scuffling and my son is laughing at the same time, and then there's tickle here, then he's like, no, I'm gonna tell mommy and stuff like that. So I'm thinking, oh gosh, these guys, if they're playing, can they just take their play somewhere else, because I'm really tired and I don't want to hear it. Anyway, my son bursts into the bedroom door and I just get up from the bed and I explode. I'm like, do you guys mind? It's like freaking 7 o'clock in the morning, I want to sleep. Nah. So I'm like, I call my son, I'm like, what is it? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, have you had cereal? Go and have something to eat. Anyway, long story short, my son just blurted it out and said, Mom, Dad took money from your purse. I had to choose at that moment to risk reprimanding my partner in front of our son, or reprimanding my son. No, actually, let me rephrase. I had to risk a fight with my partner for reprimanding my partner in front of my son, and I had to choose to do that because if I don't do that in front of my son immediately, he was going to think that this is the right thing to do. Next thing, he's going to go to school, nick people's stuff, bring it home, and then it's going to be like, no, but I learned it from home. And I'll get summoned at school, or the parents will get summoned at school. Imagine the embarrassment of that, because if that were to happen, I would know exactly where my son learned it from. So I would either have to risk not reprimanding my son at the moment, and he'd probably forget, and you can't caution kids hours after the thing has happened. You have to caution them immediately, because kids' memories are like this. I thought, you know what, I don't care. My son, what at the time was more important, his training and the values and morals I was instilling in him were far more important than my relationship. This is a grown-ass person. I said, you know what, you can't do that. How can you do that? And then he was like, he was like winking at me to say, no, don't talk about this. He kept on, don't say, the kid is here. And I'm like, no, stop winking at me. You can't do this. You can't do this because you're teaching this boy the wrong thing. And then he got aggressive. The gambler got aggressive. Justifying. I said, anyway, as much as you're talking, I still need my money. Can I have my money back? Because I don't understand why you've taken my money. I was like, you see this thing, Francis, that you're doing? And then my son was like, yeah, Dad, give Mom the money. You took the money. Thinking back, my son, he was such a cute child. And I'm just grateful that, just fond memories. That I'm just glad that what I taught him really stuck in him. May his soul rest in peace. So anyway, that's where theft comes in. So moving on to point number 6, and we're almost about to finish. This is the last point, I think. Denial. Classic effect of being in a relationship with a gambler. Denial. The gambler absolutely believes that they don't have a problem, that they are just going through a season of misfortune and things will get better. So obviously, if the person's not working and they've resorted to gambling, they will tell you, you know what, this is just a phase. I'm not a gambler. I'm just doing this for us to keep, a roof over our heads and stuff like that. Before I even, go further with the gambling part, the honest truth is I never got to experience any of the winnings. And I'm sure this person won. And if he did, I would only get like the remnants or little bits of money. I can't even say a quarter of the money. I would never really see. Most times it's also an excuse of not winning. And it was just heartbreaking because I was like, but why are you doing this if you can see it's not working? Because let's not even go there. So yeah, they are just going through a season of misfortune, but I'm not this kind of person. I'm an educated person. Look, addiction picks no race, it picks no qualification. You could be an illiterate, you could be the most educated person on the planet, if that spirit enters you, it is a respecter of no man. It will enter you and it will reduce your life to the most useless level ever imaginable, to the devil. You don't understand that these things take time. This is what they'll be saying to you. You don't understand these things take time. Despite the reality of dwindling money, scarcity in scarcity in the home in terms of their presence, because they're never around. They are always feeding this habit, either at the bar or at the bedding house. They form friendships with people that they shouldn't be forming friendships with, take loans with people they shouldn't be. Before you know it, people are at your door. Yeah, your husband or your man, he owes us money. It's a denial phase. And it's a very painful phase, I believe. Items not missing in the house. And they truly believe that everything that has been lost will be recovered. So with all these things that are happening with the denial phase, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. It's such an emotionally draining experience to be in, because this person is completely clueless about their actions. I don't think that at the time they really care. It's such a difficult and a trying moment for any individual to be in. And with them not being responsible for their duties in the house, it's such a difficult thing. Their presence is no longer there. Their focus has shifted from the relationship to this idol of gambling that is so important. And I'm sure that gambler at the moment is also riddled with guilt at the effect of what they've done, but they're still in denial to say, I'll recover it. It'll get better. It'll get better. I'm going to make this money. I'm going to buy you everything that you want and even better. They truly believe that everything will be recovered. And the thing with gambling is that the person becomes predictable. And can I tell you, I also got to that stage, and it's so painful sometimes to predict your partner in a negative way. It's nice when you predict your partner in a positive way, but when it becomes negative, it's not a nice thing. You have a clear idea of what they will do or say to get what they want. So you already know how a conversation will play out. It'll probably play out in the most negative way, because you guys are going to argue, because you're not going to feed the gambler's habit. That's when you have now resolved to no longer be the enabler. They truly believe, or rather they feel their gambling affects nothing and no one. And when you complain to say, but do you know how this is affecting? But that's not affecting you, it's actually affecting me, because I'm the one who's losing, and you don't know what it's like when you're almost close to winning, and and it's just heartbreaking, and you don't know what this does to me. I'm aware that these things are missing in the house, or not really missing, but I'm aware that things are not the way they should be, and that you deserve a better life, and this is not where we're supposed to be. I'm aware of all of that, but this is not affecting you, it's affecting me. At least you have a job. Then you're made to feel guilty because you have a job. You're made to feel guilty because you're able to fend for yourself. But what they don't understand is, as much as you're fending for yourself, you live together, so you're fending for both of you, and the money that you are investing in your relationship is going down the drain, because they're taking stuff that you who's working is working hard to keep in the house. They also truly believe that they can stop at any time, which is a humongous, it's a gigantic fib. It is a lie. That is a denial phase. I got this under control. I can stop at any time. I can stop at any time. This is not me. This is not me. I can stop at any time. Whenever I feel like it, I could be doing something better. But I've got nothing to do, I'm just looking for something to while up my time. I don't want to stress. I don't want to be depressed. So let me just go, okay, you know what? You're miserable fun. Fun. Let me go and find a place where I can have fun and just chill with my friends. No, they're not going to find a place that they're going to have fun. They're going to a place to find a way to recover the lost funds. And when they walk out that door, all you can do is just shake your head and think, wow, we're at it again. Probably come back in the late hours of the night, because they don't want you to be asking them where they're coming from and what they've been doing, because they feel like now they are being monitored as a child, and that's going to... Woo! Family, it's a difficult one. So they vehemently deny having gone to the casino or the gambling places, because obviously when you're now accusing them, I know where you've been to the gambling house, they will vehemently deny What? Me? Who saw me there? I mean, you don't even have to have witnesses. Come on. I remember when my ex's, gambling addiction got so bad, he was hiding all the evidence, hiding all the receipts, hiding all the transactions, and I was just looking at the amount of money. No matter how small it is, it would add up. $5, $10, $15, $20, $50. If it was 100, it was from him, and I don't know how he would get it. I'm assuming it's either he swindled somebody, or I'm assuming it's from a small winning and he's trying to put it back into the gambling, It was just so difficult, and every time you see the person lose, they will tell you, you know what, I don't even need to do this. This is the waste of time. I'm not even that good at it. Denial again. So let me just leave this because it's a waste of time. And they will make you feel like they've actually made a complete transformation because of being awakened. So what they will do is they will say they'll never do it again, and they will point fingers at other people that they have seen gambling. Do you know that guy? Do you know what he did? Do you know that they've actually lost their house? Do you know that they've done 1, 2, and 3? Then you think, wow, I'm glad you actually have the common sense to see that this is a very bad thing and you shouldn't get involved. It's just meant to deter you. It's a diversion from focusing on them and what they're doing. So that all is entailed under the effect point of being in denial. There is many things I could expatiate on this pointer, but I'm just going to leave it at there, which is denial. And then the 7th and last point, let me see if I've got enough time, I'm sure I could make it, is a lack of accountability and responsibility. Actually, it's my second last point. I stand corrected. Number 7 is a lack of accountability and responsibility. Because the individual's attention is elsewhere, they no longer have time for responsibilities in the home. Being a father, being a husband, being a lover, being a friend, being the handyman, they are no longer there. Therefore, overburdening the partner that is responsible and creating deep-rooted feelings of resentment. As I said before, you're the one who's now going to be the handyman. You're the one who's going to now fix the light bulb. Risk snapping your neck as a female. You're the one now who's going to be very hands-on. You're going to fix stuff. You're going to go and source things. You're going to, because life must move on. You've got a child. You've got to keep your head above water. You can't keep waiting for this person that you keep asking, and they keep creating stories to feed their habit and ignoring their responsibilities at home. And when they lose, it's never their fault. They were either disturbed, they were distracted, it's the machine's technical malfunction, or the soccer team was short of a player, etc., etc. They are not accountable. There's a reason why they lost. It's not them. Yeah, it's that flippin', what do they call them? Team manager? Team manager? I'm talking about football. This is soccer this time. So yeah, no, it's the coach. It's the coach's fault. He's under the weather. No, they shouldn't have picked it. Then there's politics behind the game. 19, what? Like, you're just introduced to nonsense just to explain a silly or stupid receipt as to why that person lost that particular day. Or no, it's because you fought with me this morning, and as a result of us fighting, I went with a very angry heart and I didn't make a proper choice. Therefore, it's your fault that I lost. Things that are way beyond anyone's control, they will latch onto as an excuse for having lost. I mean, if it's raining and the soccer pitch is wet and the people are falling all over the place and they can't, they can't dribble and they can't, whatever the case is. Yeah, no, that's the reason why we lost, because it was raining. And when I listened to my ex justify, 2 feelings or emotions would surface: anger and sadness or pity. Anger as to how I found myself with such an individual, and sadness because this will be a never-ending story, and pity because the person does not see what is going on, because obviously you, as the same partner, you have a peripheral view as to what's happening. There are so many effects of being in a relationship with a gambler. There are emotional aspects to this. There are psychological aspects to this. And probably I'll get into that. But right now I'm just going to talk about the immediate effects, I think, from face value of being in a relationship with a chronic gambler. When you fight with somebody purely because they feel that it's your fault because they lost a ticket, simply because you expressed how much what they're doing is not making you happy, it's a very difficult situation to be in, because you're manipulated into feeling that you are not supportive of what it is that they want to do, because they're trying to make a better life for you, the partner who's complaining. So I can't tell you the ripple effect of all these things, as I thank you, Holy Spirit, as I'm thinking about this, it's just bringing back a flood of memories, because there's a myriad of emotions that I would feel simply because of just being in a relationship with a chronic gambler. Ladies, if you find yourself in this kind of situation, I must tell you, you've really got to learn how to fight for yourself and get out of that situation. And if you're a guy, I also agree. But I think it's mostly common. Gambling is mostly common with men. And I'm not going to talk about alcoholic. I'm talking about this actual physical, monetary gambling. There are many problems that come from this. Nothing good comes from it. Nothing. Unless if it's like, a husband who probably went to the grocery store. Mind you, went to the grocery store, he's doing his duties. He's going to buy a carton of milk and some eggs and bread. And on his way, he's like, you know what? Let me just spend like a bit of money and buy a lottery ticket. Then he comes back and it's like, babe, you know what? I bought a lottery ticket. And he doesn't even probably pay attention. He's like, there, just chucks it. It's like, hey, babe, what's up for dinner? Do you want me to help you? Do you know what I mean? There's a difference. There's a really huge difference with responsibility. So if the person never takes accountability for their actions, to say, you know what, you never bought the tap when I asked you, and as a result, we've got a high water bill because water's been dripping and I told you about this. Yeah, but it's your fault. You should have reminded me. When you pass that tap every day, does that drip not irritate your ear? That's number one. So there's many things that, you doubt the person's logic. You doubt the person's common sense. You begin to demean your partner. You begin to be very disrespectful. Sorry about that, family. I was actually worried about my timer, so that's why I was glancing down at the end, because my time was about to be over. So I was talking about how you begin to disrespect your partner, you begin to belittle them, and you demean them, because you're like, you know what? You think it, but you don't say it. You really feel like telling the person, you really are a useless person. Now, if there's anything I could really tell you, is that you actually are the enemy of progress to my life, because clearly you don't want the progress of this family, because you don't realize how much your addiction is bringing this family down. You really have these really negative thoughts, a very deep-rooted resentment towards your partner, and that is just going to kill the relationship, and that's purely by gambling. And I promise you, the gambler is in denial. They don't see how much you're in pain, they don't see how much you're angry, and quite frankly, they really don't care, because to them, you're the one who's insensitive, you're the one who's being unreasonable, because why don't you just simply understand why they're doing what they're doing and support what they're doing? Crazy, I know. Right, let's move on to the last point, which is point number 8. The last effect of being in a relationship with a gambler is you develop feelings of hopelessness and helplessness. I can't tell you, this is something that I felt so strongly and so deeply for a very, very, very long time. I definitely had these feelings because I couldn't find a way to control the situation, and I felt, obviously, as a partner, when you're in a relationship with somebody, you guys feel like you are responsible for each other, correct? In a perfect world. And by right, it should be that way. You should be responsible for each other, because if anything happens and somebody comes to you, what happened? You should be able to know if you were around that situation, whatever the case is. You should be able to explain exactly what happened. So when you're in a relationship with a gambler, you really feel like, you know what, I need to help this person. I need to help them realize that what they're doing is bad. And you will do as much as you can within your power to tell this person that, you know what, this is going to ruin this relationship. First of all, you start by being nice. Second of all, you start by ignoring, then you start by being nice. Then you start by being then you get irritated, and then you get angry. And then now you go full beast mode, because it's like, you know what, you clearly don't care. And you begin to really, release your anger, if at all. It could either work out that way, or you could be a cocoon and think, you know what, this is my life. And there's nothing I can do to solve this problem. Do you know what I mean? So, as a woman especially, and I'll speak from a woman's perspective, because this is what I experienced. I felt that my home was disintegrating and life was just deteriorating, and my self-worth was diminishing. I could not see the sun. The sun is blazing outside. I don't care. It's like, okay, it's the sun. So, and it's because you are hopeless. There is no ray of hope. There is no ray of progress. It dents your self-worth. It diminishes your self-worth more than anything. And I just didn't know what to do. I felt so helpless. I didn't know what to do at the time. Walking away didn't even seem like the best option for a myriad of reasons. Walking away at the time just didn't seem good because I have a son, and if I leave, why did you leave? Dad, years later, no, your dad was a gambler. He might not understand the psychological effect at the time when I'm explaining to him what it did to me, what it did to us, what it did to our child, what it did to our relationship, and the reasons why I left. So I thought, I don't want to entertain that kind of conversation. My son needs his father around, and it's my responsibility to make sure that, that was another mistake that I made. I put all of that responsibility solely on myself for me to fix everything. And that's a very bad thing, ladies, because if you are in a relationship with somebody, it's the responsibility of the two of you to make it work, and you have to both be wanting it to work. I don't know what kind of English that was, but I hope it's correct. But you both you both really must be desperate to want it to work, and you have to be proactive in it, not reactive. You have to be proactive in your relationship. I felt I owed it to my son and myself, and for the relationship, to work hard at it and to hold things together. Even if I did it alone, I was okay with that, and that was a problem. Ladies, should you find yourself in this situation, honestly, my advice is get out. Get out of that situation. It's not worth it. I tell you, if you are around this person in this kind of situation long enough, it is going to ruin you as an individual moving forward in your life. It's going to ruin you. It's going to kill your trust for a person, for a man. And this, I'm talking to my ladies. It's going to diminish respect for men. It's going to make you hate things you shouldn't be hating in the first place, that you should have no business hating. Sport is something that was created by man. God has given us talents that we should enjoy. There's nothing wrong with the game of soccer. There's nothing wrong with boxing, because people also bet and gamble with boxers. I mean, look, if people have the money to do it and you've got that extra cash to throw and you don't feel any problem doing it, hey, do your thing. If you know you're not a chronic person, but you're already knocking on that door. In my opinion, you're knocking on that door. It takes an incredible amount of self-will and self-control to be able to say, you know what, I am not even going to try. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. That boxer is getting paid for that match. Both boxers are getting paid for that match anyway, and whoever wins gets a lot of money for winning anyway. So, do you know what I mean? Betting houses, for me, in my opinion, I really don't like them. Let me be careful, because a lot of people's lives have also been changed by betting houses. And those that have been willing to, bet, and then they've won, and they've actually turned their backs towards it because it really was a means to an end, and they've learned from it, and they're not going to go back. With some people, it becomes a cage. It becomes a dungeon. It becomes a trap. It becomes a crevice that the person cannot crawl out of. So guess what? I'm done. I am done. And I hope that you really benefited a lot from this topic. I really don't mind talking about these things, because I know what God has delivered me from. I know what God has saved me from, and I know what God has had to work me through and is still working me through, because there were a lot of effects, and that was just another side of that particular relationship. And if you are not strong enough, I tell you, you can literally die from, literally physically die, because you'll have high blood pressure. You may have a stroke, a heart attack, health complications, because you're constantly stressed, you're constantly frustrated, and that's not a healthy state of being to be in. And it just wasn't a good space for me to be in. It really was a toxic environment, not only for me, but also for our son at the time. So family, with these effects that I've mentioned, I can't wait to hear what I'm sure there's a lot of points. I just took the ones that I thought were kind of vital, and I'm sure there's many more. I'd love to hear your points and your comments in the description section below. So I think I'm signing out. Am I still within time? Oh yes, I'm still within time. I love you, family. I really do. And I pray that this video reaches a lot more people. And if you want to share this video, please feel free to share this video. Our work is to expose the works of the devil. We should be talking about these things as Christians. We shouldn't be quiet about them and, suffering in silence. We should be talking about these things. And this video is not to bash, my ex or whatever it is. I truly hope and pray to God that he is transformed and he is changed for a better person, for his good more than anything, not for my good, but, for his good and for the glory of God. That's what's important. So, it's a difficult thing to be in. You just need to find a way to come out of it. And it's only God. If you don't have anyone, there's gambling lines that you could call. You could go for counseling. You could go for relationship counseling or therapy or whatever they call it. You could go for those things and talk about these things. But if you see that your partner is not interested or moved in how their actions are affecting you, either way, it's time to make a change. You need to find, life is too short to tell yourself, I'm trapped in a situation. There's always a way out. There's always a way out. And my content is to help people heal emotionally. I'm helping you be enlightened by a lot of issues. By talking about the issues that affected me, I'm helping you become the best version of yourself. And I'm also bringing to you knowledge that you are not alone. There's many people that are going through these things. Some people are not brave enough to talk about them. Some people are. I thank God for giving me that platform. So, without rambling on too much, this is ICWFO. Intimate Conversations with Francis O'Brien, healing one heart at a time. I haven't done it in a while, so I feel I'm fumbling. Have a very fantastic week, and I hope to hear from you soon. Oh yes, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It would mean the world to me to get this content out. And thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, bye.